Hey everybody, Jarheado331 here with grogheads.com, bringing you another video, this time of Pocket Space Empire. This is a early access title that kind of came out of nowhere. Didn't even know that it existed or was in development until a day before it was released. Kind of showed up in the upcoming releases in my Steam store page. So this is a Space 4X game that is being developed by Silver Lemur Games. It's an indie developer, and it seems like there's a really unique approach to the 4X genre here. Basically, the whole idea behind this game seems to be that the player is the emperor of a intergalactic empire and makes the kinds of decisions that you would expect the leader or figurehead of a vast space empire to make. What does that mean in terms of gameplay? Well, I suppose it means that a lot of the more micro level decision making activities that are typical or common to most other games in the genre are kind of abstracted in Pocket Space Empire and are not really the responsibility of the player. So the kinds of decisions that you'll be making in Pocket Space Empire are kind of like global overall decisions that affect the running of your empire overall, rather than perhaps the industrial development on any particular colony or planet. So it's really interesting in that regard. There aren't a lot of games out there that have taken that approach, and hopefully it'll work out really well and give players something different to take a look at in a genre that's really become crowded lately, and that's not something that we complain about at Grogheads. It's a good time to be a Space 4X gamer, that's for sure. So, as I said, this is an early access title. It's actually in very early alpha phase, and it has a long way to go. There are a lot of features in the game that have not been implemented yet, and will be added as the development progresses over the next 6 to 9 months, I suppose. This video is really going to be just a brief overview. I'm not really even going to get into any gameplay. I don't really have the time right now. But I know that there's been some talk in the forums about this game and how it works and what it is, and I really just wanted to get something up kind of quickly. I've been communicating with the lead developer. His name is Chris, and he's agreed to sit down with us and do a developer interview. So we'll be following up this video with that, as well as a more formal preview showing you guys how the game actually plays. But for now, I just wanted to show you the look of the game, which I really like, and some of the features that are already part of the game. So basically, there is a tutorial that's been built into the game. It's text-based only, and it's very general, and it's incomplete. So, you know, basically, if you go into the military tab, you get some overall mechanics that you can click in, and you get some information regarding the most significant or important aspects of the gameplay. So, even though it's very general and basic, I have found it's been somewhat helpful in kind of giving me an idea as to what kinds of activities will be important in running the empire in the game. So, you know, as you can see here, some of these are totally unfinished, and some of them haven't even been started yet. So its usefulness at this point is limited, but as time goes on, I'm sure it'll become more useful to the player. So let's start a new game, and as you can see, there are 7 different basic scenarios to choose from at this point. Some of them are listed as being in the test mode or in the test phase. So we'll stick to the first two. And basically the differences between these two, Birth of an Empire and Glory of the Empire, are pretty obvious. In Birth of an Empire, you're in a 400 planet system and you start with only 10 planets in your empire, and in Glory of the Empire, it's a larger starting universe with 500 planets, and the player is going to start with 50 planets. So you'll have, I guess, more economic strength, more infrastructure, and more capability to influence other non-player empires with your military. But for purposes of this video, we'll start with Birth of the Empire, and we'll leave the difficulty setting at 4. And here you can see that ultimately, when the game is finished, you'll have the option of creating your emperor and giving him some basic stats, using genetic pool points to kind of buff various stats. And there's a note here that says none of these perks are implemented yet, so they have no effect, so it doesn't really matter what we pick. And when you're ready, you can clone the new emperor. As you can see, there are tooltips, which are helpful. So this is the universe here. You can zoom in and out. This is the entire galaxy. And the player's empire is right here in the center with the light blue color. And here you can see on the mini-map over here that there are other empires that already populate the galaxy, and some of them are much larger than your own. Now, one of the interesting things about this game is the player can only play as the Empire. I guess that's the human empire. All of the other races are controlled by the AI, and from what I understand from the developer, the player is not really in competition with these AI empires. They are not trying to win or defeat the player. They're pretty much just trying to exist. And the player, on the other hand, is not really trying to beat the other enemy empires. Now, that doesn't mean that the player can't be aggressive and try to expand through conquest, but it's really not the objective of the game. So here at the top of the page, you see you have your basic fields that you can interact with as the Emperor. And the first is the Empire. And here's your throne. And one of the key concepts in this game seems to be the concept of the audience, where various figures and personalities and factions seek your attention in order for you to rule on certain requests or issues or problems, and kind of manage your empire the way a monarch or an emperor would. So that should be pretty interesting in the final game. There's nothing that I've seen in any other 4X game that is quite like that. So you can look in the court and hear all your Imperial officials who will do your bidding, and they're broken down into various different departments. You can see here: defense, treasury, justice, internal affairs, foreign affairs, protocol. They each have names. They each have certain statistics, and you can demote them or transfer them. You can move them around to different departments. You can promote them. And I'm not, ultimately I'm not sure how the player will use these guys in the game, but I like the concept. And by the way, I like the look of the game. I think it's neat. I like the style of the uniforms and the colors and the artwork. It's got a pretty cool feel to it. So here's your intelligence department, and here you can see all the other groups that are in the game. Here are your civilized major races and your civilized minor races. Rebels, pirates, primitive races, parasites. Kind of look like what you'd expect a parasite to look like. Gives you a description. I really like what the different races look like. They're really different. Here's some of the civilized major races. Some of the basic actions you can take against them or in their favor. I like these guys. Really cool looking. Here's your ambassador. Diplomats. These guys are really cool too. Just really unique races. Usually you see, walking cats and your bird race, or your cyborgs, but these are really, at least in look, unique, and I really appreciate that. They don't look like they're being copied, and that's really cool. So here are reforms that you can enact. Gives you a summary, and your victory conditions and defeat conditions. So then the next major category is finances. You can set taxes, and you can enter into contracts, and these are contracts with private corporations that you'll enter into or cancel or breach during audiences. So once you have an audience and enter into a contract, I'm presuming it'll appear here, and it'll give you details such as cost and upkeep per turn. So that kind of brings in the commercial aspect of managing an intergalactic empire, and that's kind of cool. You have your industry. There's a list of rare resources that you'll be mining or trading in the game, and the kinds of industries and the number of each that you have. I suppose that's empire-wide. Products. I hope these will be expanded through development, and you'll get, more things than just these basic 5 categories. And here are edicts that you can issue for each industry. And basically the edicts tell the planetary governors what to focus on their planets. Research. Again, I hope these get expanded. But you can see a number of different technologies are already implemented that you can research in each category. And there aren't too many yet, so I hope that these will be expanded upon throughout development. And then you have the fleet. So in each game, no matter how many planets you have, my understanding is you only have 9 fleets. You will never have more than 9 fleets. But what you can do as the Emperor is create squadrons, and you can add the squadrons to whichever fleets they're needed in, and that can be because of attrition or rebellion or mutiny or loss in combat or any other reason, I suppose. But they can also be used as reinforcements in contested zones or regions, or to bolster a border where you're expecting the possibility of hostilities. So it is the individual ships that you build that can then be formed into squadrons, and those squadrons can then be added into the various fleets. And the fleets are depicted on the map as these little tabs on the top left of each planet. And in each fleet you have a list of the squadrons, the officer that is in charge or in command of the fleet, and you can get details on each squadron in each fleet, and it'll highlight its location on the map, which I think is pretty cool. And you can disband it, you can replace the officer in charge or in command of each squadron, and you can even see a list of the ships that are currently in that squadron. Here's the shipyard, which is where you build various different ships, and right now there's only 3 different hull types. I hope that'll be expanded as well. It's a summary of the type and number of ships in your fleet, and I suppose here there's a way to modernize or upgrade equipment and technology equipped on your various ships through the different eras. And then of course there's a officer list, and again it's each fleet. And here you can fire them. And here's your armies. You first get a list of defensive installations and a summary of your forces, and you've got your regular infantry battalions, and these are the guys that you will use for planetary defense. And then you have your stormtroopers, which are the guys who will use for planetary invasion. And even though this is pretty basic and simple, I actually like it. I think it works. It has enough diversity and feel to make it work in a game of on this kind of a strategic level. So more diversity would always be great, and hopefully we'll see a little bit of that as the research options are expanded. But for now, I think it's pretty cool. And then, just like the fleets, you have your list of army officers. So those are the basic main categories, and then here's your planets. You click on the planet, and you get a view of the governor and his stats, the fleets that are located in orbit, squadrons. You can deploy stormtroopers in the event there's a rebellion, and you can see what the focus of the industry is on this planet. And of course, there are details regarding the economy. You can change the specialization, and you can see what kind of defenses are located on the planet and set the defense priority. Terra is the throne world, so obviously the priority should be pretty high. But, you know, as you can see, these fleets are pretty easy to move. You just right-click and it sets the movement order. ETA is 1 turn. And if I clicked end turn, it would take us to the next turn, but I'm going to save that for the gameplay preview. Again, I just wanted to record something really quick for you guys to kind of digest and make a decision whether this is the kind of game you'd be interested in possibly buying. I did get a little sticker shock when this was released. It was released at a 10% discount for, I think, $22. I think that was a little high. It was a little more than what I was expecting, especially for a game that is this early on in development and being released from a relatively unknown independent developer. But I guess the logic is that once the game is completed and released at retail, the price is going to go down, I think, to $19.99. So if that's not too high for you, you might want to give it a shot. I'm going to post this video in the forums, and we can talk about it. I'll answer any questions you have and check out any specific features that I can. And keep an eye out for our interview with Chris of Silver Lemur Games and our further gameplay videos and perhaps a preview of some kind. So thanks for watching. Again, it's Jarhead0331 with grogheads.com, and I'll see you guys in the forums. Thanks.